Do not skip this. This is not hype. This is a decision window. You feel it right now. That tension in your chest. Like something is shifting. Like your season of drifting is over. Listen carefully. Heaven does not announce breakthrough with noise. It announces it with conviction. And conviction feels uncomfortable. You've been asking for financial breakthrough. But what if the breakthrough isn't money falling? What if it's discipline rising? What if the decree is not about cash, but about capacity? You don't have 9 seconds before a miracle disappears. You have 9 seconds right now to decide who governs your future. Stay here. Block distractions, because this moment is not emotional. It is structural. If you are tired of repeating financial cycles, press like as a declaration. I choose structure. Subscribe if you are ready for stewardship instead of superstition, because heaven funds alignment, not chaos. Now listen closely. In Scripture, decrees were not emotional speeches. They were structural shifts. When a king issued a decree, territory changed. When God decrees something, identity changes first. Deuteronomy says, "It is the Lord who gives you power to create wealth." Power, not magic. Power means self-control, foresight, strategy, patience, obedience. If God activates anything in you, it will be internal before it is external. Breakthrough is not lottery thinking. Breakthrough is when you stop leaking money emotionally. You stop avoiding financial truth. You start building margin. You start investing in long-term stability. Psalm says wealth and riches are in the house of the righteous. Notice, house. House represents order. Breakthrough is when your financial life stops being chaotic. Because time is not the enemy. Delay is. The longer you avoid discipline, the longer you delay expansion. The 9 seconds is symbolic. It represents decision speed. Most people hesitate when they should commit. They scroll when they should focus. They dream when they should build. The urgency is this. Stop postponing your potential. 1111 is alignment. 4 pillars. Spiritual, mental, financial, relational. If one collapses, increase collapses. When you see 1111, ask, am I aligned right now? Am I thinking like an owner or a consumer? Am I preparing for stewardship or chasing emotion? That awareness is activation. This is a divine decree, a direct message from heaven. A monumental $500 trillion financial breakthrough has been released, and the window of opportunity is closing rapidly. You have only 9 seconds left to claim your portion of this unprecedented blessing. Act now. You are called to step into divine wealth alignment. To claim it now, click the activation link from description or tap the Redeem Card Claim button before the final moment passes. Seal it with $99 release. As I say, give, and it shall be given to you. Declare with faith, yes, God, I receive and I claim my heavenly financial breakthrough. Your moment is here. Rise as the chosen one of overflow. Right now, decide, will you continue surviving, or will you govern your life? Press like if you choose governance. Subscribe if you choose discipline over distraction, not for luck, for leadership. The decree is simple. Put God first. Structure your finances. Guard your habits. Invest consistently. Eliminate chaos. Repeat daily. Proverbs says steady diligence leads to abundance, not hype, not pressure. Steady. You are not waiting for heaven to send money. You are waiting to become trustworthy with it. Say this, I build with wisdom, I multiply with discipline, I govern my habits, I align before I expand. This is your breakthrough, not because of numbers, because of maturity. When structure meets opportunity, wealth stops being fantasy. It becomes function. Now act accordingly. Listen carefully. Wealth is not about how much you make. It's about how much you control. Most people chase income. The wealthy build territory. Income feeds lifestyle. Territory builds legacy. Genesis says humanity was given dominion over the earth. Dominion means ownership mentality. Ownership mentality changes everything. An employee asks, "What do I earn?" An owner asks, "What do I build?" Breakthrough begins the day you stop thinking in paychecks and start thinking in assets. Layer 1, stability, no chaos in your finances. Layer 2, margin, you spend less than you produce. Layer 3, assets, your money works without you. Layer 4, legacy, what you build outlives you. Most never reach layer 3 because they never master layer 1. If your spending controls you, you will never control capital. And capital obeys structure. In Matthew, Jesus speaks about servants entrusted with talents. The one who multiplied was given more. The one who buried what he had lost, even that. Notice something powerful. The master didn't ask about effort. He asked about return. Return is the language of stewardship. If God increases your influence tomorrow, could you multiply it? If opportunity doubled, could your discipline handle it? That is wealth readiness. Psalm says wealth and riches are in the house of the righteous. But what kind of house? A structured one. A house where spending is intentional, investments are strategic, time is protected, energy is guarded. Your house must produce, not just consume. Consumption drains, production multiplies. Forget the number itself. Think scale. Trillion-level thinking is long-term contracts, strategic partnerships, ownership over liability, assets over appearances. The wealthy do not chase applause. They chase equity. They don't buy what impresses. They build what appreciates. If you want generational wealth, you must outgrow emotional spending. Luxury without structure becomes debt. Structure without luxury becomes legacy. Choose legacy. Pause right now. Ask yourself, what did I fund last month that weakened my future? What did I avoid that would have strengthened it? This is not guilt. This is awareness. Awareness is power. Press like if you choose awareness over avoidance. Subscribe if you are committed to thinking generationally. Because wealth responds to clarity. The wealthy think in systems. Systems of income. Systems of saving. Systems of investing. Systems of learning. You cannot pray for overflow while living without systems. God multiplies order. In creation, everything was structured. Light separated from darkness. Waters separated from land. Structure preceded abundance. Do the same in your life. Separate needs from wants. Separate investment from impulse. Separate long-term from temporary. Breakthrough is not a sudden deposit. It is when your habits finally align with your goals. It is when your identity shifts from consumer to creator. It is when your environment reflects your discipline. That is activation. That is wealth code maturity. Say this with authority. I think in assets. I move with discipline. I build systems. I multiply what I manage. My house produces wealth. This is not about fantasy numbers. It is about financial authority, and authority is earned through governance. Govern yourself. Structure your money. Invest consistently. Build patiently. Because when opportunity meets preparation, wealth does not overwhelm you. It obeys you. Wealth is not money. Money moves. Land stays. Throughout Scripture, when God blessed someone, He gave them land. Not because land was flashy, because land is leverage. Abraham wasn't promised coins. He was promised territory. Joshua didn't receive applause. He divided land. In biblical times, land represented stability, production, authority, generational transfer, identity. Land meant you could build. Land meant you could plant. Land meant your children had foundation. Money feeds today. Assets feed generations. Real estate is not just property. It is control over space. When you own space, you control outcomes. Renters adapt. Owners decide. Spiritually and financially, you must shift from renter mindset to owner mindset. Owner mindset asks, how does this appreciate? How does this multiply? How does this transfer? Every wealthy family in history understood one principle: control assets. Don't just earn income. Income is fragile. Assets are structural. In Leviticus, land was never meant to be permanently lost. It returned in Jubilee. Why? Because land was tied to generational inheritance. God's economic design was generational, not temporary. That means, what you build should outlive you. What you acquire should transfer. What you structure should endure. If your financial life cannot survive one generation, it was never structured. Here's the shift most people never make. They upgrade lifestyle instead of upgrading asset base. They increase expenses instead of increasing ownership. They chase appearance instead of appreciation. Asset strategy thinking asks, is this purchase producing? Is this investment growing? Is this asset protected? Is this scalable? Wealth multiplies through strategy. Proverbs says the wise store up choice provisions. Store up, not spend up. Accumulation of assets is not greed. It is preparation. Now we go deeper. Wealth without structure dissolves. Generational wealth requires legal and mental structure. Structure means clear ownership, clear transfer plan, clear investment strategy, clear boundaries. In biblical times, inheritance was intentional. Fathers spoke blessings over sons. Portions were assigned deliberately. Nothing was random. Random money disappears. Structured wealth compounds. If you are serious about generational shift, you must think in terms of trusts, business ownership, long-term holdings, education funding, asset protection. This is stewardship at scale. You cannot pour generational wealth into a house without pillars. Pillars are financial literacy, emotional discipline, delayed gratification, spiritual alignment. Without pillars, assets crack under pressure. Many people want overflow, few want responsibility, but responsibility is what sustains overflow. Pause. Ask yourself, if I received a large opportunity tomorrow, would I invest it or inflate my lifestyle? Your answer reveals your readiness. Press like if you choose assets over applause. Subscribe if you choose ownership over optics. Because legacy demands maturity. Real wealth is equity, land, intellectual property, business systems, network leverage, spiritual stability. The Bible repeatedly connects righteousness with stability. Stability is the root of multiplication. If you are unstable, assets feel stressful. If you are structured, assets feel strategic. You are not meant to just work in territory. You are meant to own territory. Own your schedule. Own your investments. Own your growth. Own your discipline. Ownership produces authority. Authority produces leverage. Leverage produces freedom. Freedom produces generational security. Say this firmly. I think in assets. I build in structure. I protect what I produce. I transfer what I build. My house will own territory. This is trillion-level thinking, not spending power, ownership power. Because when your mindset shifts from income to inheritance, from spending to structuring, from survival to strategy, you stop chasing wealth, you start designing it, and designed wealth lasts. This is not excitement. This is establishment. There is a difference. Excitement fades. Establishment stands. Tonight is not about imagining wealth. It is about deciding structure. In Deuteronomy, God speaks of covenant, not casual blessing, but agreement between heaven and obedience. Covenant is not emotional, it is binding. It says, if you walk in my ways, I will establish the work of your hands. Establish, not flash, not inflate. Establish. That word means secure, rooted, immovable. You are not here to chase overflow. You are here to build permanence. You are the turning point in your bloodline, not because you shouted it, but because you chose discipline. Not because you demanded increase, but because you accepted responsibility. From this moment forward, your house will operate with order. Your money will move with intention. Your decisions will carry foresight. Your name will carry stability. That is authority. Authority is calm. Authority is structured. Authority does not beg, it governs. In Scripture, blessings flowed through generations when one person aligned fully. Abraham aligned. Isaac inherited. Jacob multiplied. Alignment created transfer. If you build correctly, your children inherit peace. If you build wisely, your grandchildren inherit leverage. This is covenant thinking. You are not building for applause. You are building for transfer. Your discipline today becomes someone else's advantage tomorrow. That is legacy. Hear this clearly. No more drifting. No more emotional financial reactions. No more postponing growth. No more funding distractions. From this day forward, you move intentionally. You invest before you indulge. You build before you broadcast. You secure before you celebrate. Because wealth respects control, and control begins in the mind. If your thoughts are scattered, your money will scatter. If your habits are disciplined, your assets will multiply. Dominion starts within. The blessing in Psalm 112 says, "The righteous person's house will stand firm, and their wealth will endure." Firm, endure. That is the promise attached to alignment. You do not need dramatic signs. You need consistent obedience. You do not need a sudden deposit. You need sustained stewardship. When your habits align with God's order, increase becomes sustainable. When your character aligns with covenant, expansion becomes safe. This is the sealing moment. Not loud, not emotional, decisive. If you accept responsibility for generational structure, press like, not out of emotion, but out of agreement. If you are choosing covenant over chaos, subscribe, not casually, but intentionally. This is not about numbers. It is about discipline. Say this slowly. I build what endures. I protect what I produce. I align before I expand. My bloodline rises through structure, and then prove it tomorrow. Because legacy is not declared once. It is built daily, and from this day forward. You do not chase wealth. You govern it. That is the decree. Now walk accordingly.